So in this video, I build a 24 terabyte storage server. I load all of the data from all my old phones and external hard drives and old computers onto this server. I build an app so that I can quickly annotate and take pictures of every one of the pages of my old journals and sketchbooks. And towards the end, I start with the first rough experiments of creating geographical-like maps to explore ideas from my writing and from notes in a kind of physical space. So yeah, this is kind of an open-ended project, which is why there's likely going to be multiple videos. But the first step was to actually build a storage server in the first place. So this is my old gaming PC I built back in might have been 2014. I don't really play many video games anymore, so this is just sitting around. I just dusted it off. There was tons of dust on it. It's just been sitting in my room doing nothing. So I'm thinking this is the perfect thing to use for the storage. So I got all the drives, 5 8 terabyte Western Digital drives. I'm going to run them, I think, in RAID 6, meaning I can withstand 2 drive failures. These were 170 each, so in total it was like $900. This is what we're pontificating about. I had this whole section edited, but I realized that no one really gives a shit about picking parts for a new PC. But if you're curious, the parts list is in the description. It's a decent upper mid-range kind of workstation / gaming PC. But this video is basically me going through the laborious struggle of justifying and rationalizing spending $2,000 on a cool spanking new computer. I'm justifying buying this right now. I'm like making an argument to myself. And recording it. Just fuck it. YOLO. You only live once. And it's a fun, cool thing. And I can do it. I can buy it. I want to do it. I think I might do it. And probably, hopefully, will do it. So, cool. So with the PC built, I used MDID-M, which is a bash tool for configuring RAID, and I configured RAID 6 on all of my 5 drives. Once that was configured, I loaded all of my old phones, all of my old hard drives, every SD card I could find. I just started throwing data into this computer. But I quickly realized that a lot of the stuff that I wanted to put in my new NAS server were in journals and sketchbooks and old notebooks. And so I needed a way to quickly and really efficiently take pictures of every page of every one of my journals, every one of my sketchbooks, and put those pictures with some kind of annotation about what's in the picture into my storage server. So I decided to build an app to do this. I spent probably a few days putting together a really janky, rough app in order to help me do this. This is the app. So it basically allowed me to create groups of pictures, take a picture of each page, and quickly transcribe a spoken description about each page. I could add tags and dates, and everything would be uploaded locally to my laptop for temporary storage. Because I built this app so quick, I actually scrapped it, and I'm gonna rebuild this app, and in the next chapter of this project, I'll make a video and I'll put the source code for this app in the description of that video. So after that point, I kind of went on and off, didn't make as much progress as fast as I had over the summer, but I did do some menial work of organizing my notes and writing. For me, I have like my iPhone Notes app, voice memos, Obsidian, Google Docs, Notion, random files on my computer, basically just way too many different places that I don't have control over it. It's on random servers in random different clouds. and it's just generally unorganized, and this bothered me. So in the kind of ethos of this project, I needed to kind of bring everything together into one place and have control over it. So after some research and thinking about it, I realized that Obsidian was the best option. If you don't know Obsidian, it's kind of like note-taking software on steroids. It's really cool. It gets really fancy. People go crazy with customization, but it's built around this idea of owning your files and being able to link ideas together. So in Obsidian, you can link notes to other notes, and you can kind of create these webs of ideas. So it's really cool. There's a lot of customization you can do, a lot of cool plugins. And so I decided I was going to create two what are called Obsidian Vaults. First one was for more externally facing things, projects, writing, ideas, anything that's kind of externally oriented. And then the second one was more internally oriented. So everything that's like reflection and journaling and kind of introspection, or anything that's, more personal. So with these two Obsidian Vaults, I went through the laborious process of transferring all the notes from these different apps into these Obsidian Vaults. I still haven't done Google Docs. That's the one I haven't got to yet, but I just went through everything. It took a while. It was kind of insightful, kind of terrifying to look at your old writing with a fine-tooth comb like that. After doing that, then I moved to transcribing things. So I have a lot of voice memos. I just like to rant to my phone and think about things. I realized that for me, I really enjoy like talking to a camera. It forces me to kind of think things through. And I think there's something about having an observer listening to you, or even just a recording, forces you to articulate yourself and think things through. This is probably why people have therapists, but instead of a therapist, I decided to buy a $100 Sony Handycam. So this became my therapist. Past 6 months, I've just been journaling on this thing. Transcribed all the recordings from this, all the voice memos, random screen recordings on my computer, and I put all of those in the Obsidian Vaults as well. And so basically from this point, I had these two Obsidian Vaults with just tons of text in them from all these different places. And I now had my life organized in two locations. So from this point, I could start exploring and experimenting with different ways to visualize all this data. Okay, so this is the first kind of data visualization experiment. This is an attempt to create a kind of explorable 2D map of all of the pictures of the pages from my journals and sketchbooks, which I've annotated so far using that app. But so far, these are all the pictures I've taken. What I'm doing here is I'm arranging them in a 2D space, kind of grouping them together based on how similar pages look to one another. I'm doing this using an embedding model. In the next clip in this video, I have a different kind of map visualization that I've experimented with, and I'll explain more there how this kind of thing works, because it's a similar method. And you can see, so like down here is all of my really just janky high school, chaotic, angsty high school drawings. And then you got up here like middle school, early high school car drawings. Then just like, just random doodles. And up here these are all my journals, and you can see I have chicken scratch handwriting, but also that this all of these images, these are from journals and stuff from the past 10 years or so this is for me really interesting to see, because I can kind of explore like the different areas of things I've written or things I've drawn. You can see up here this little island, these are all the covers, so they got kind of grouped together. And so these are grouped basically by visual similarity. So they're not grouped by like content or anything like that. So it's very basic. But yeah, this is just the first experiment with this. I really like maps. I'm into maps. I think geography is cool, and I want to take knowledge space or mental space and map it into like a physical 2D or 3D space. So I've taken like 260 some odd files, taking all that text, and I'm running it through what's called an embedding model, an AI that will take a piece of text, put it into some high dimensional space, and everything that's similar in meaning to that piece of text will kind of be in roughly the same location in that high dimensional space. And then I'm taking that data and I'm doing what's called dimensionality reduction. So I'm reducing that down to a 2D space. And so instead of 1,500 something dimensions, we only have 2 dimensions. All of the similar ideas are kind of grouped together, and there's some kind of structure according to the meaning of the text. Then I'm clustering that using this clustering algorithm called dbScan, and then I'm drawing borders around those clusters. So this is the 2D space of points. The first pass of creating these maps was something like this. This is called a Bernoulli diagram, which you may have seen before. Something that looks kind of like this. Experimented with, adding some natural jaggedness, because there's no real straight lines in nature, and geography definitely has a lot of jaggedness to it. This didn't work so well. Experimented further. That didn't really work very well either. Then I started to get it to work a little bit better. Eventually, I had something that kind of looked like this, and you can see here, this is with the points on top of those little territories. It's a little confusing. Also, I don't know, why is there so much area over here? So I think with this, there's a lot of tweaking that I got to do to figure out how to make these maps work correctly. The way I was doing this, I couldn't display it on the front end. It was kind of convoluted to deal with, and I simplified it a bunch, basically. So I have this diagram now. I've taken all the points inside of each of these territories or clusters and summarize them into a title and like a short description. If I zoom into any one of them, you can see all of my different files. So yeah, these are every single file from the last few years. This is kind of cool to see this at like a bird's eye view, see all these different areas of things I've kind of explored or thought about. I've also made a different map that's more detailed. So this one has more clusters, and so kind of gets into more specific categories. Ultimately, it would be cool to kind of have this all combined into one big map where you have like big areas that are kind of like, countries in a way. Then you have kind of states, and then you have counties, and maybe even specific cities, or just basically layers of resolution on this kind of map where everything that is about some specific topic goes to that location and makes that location bigger. So I want to create like an environment that I can always update. So that's the way with this current method, is that I can't really update this in place. Like if I added 100 more files, it's going to have a completely different structure. It's just the nature of how it is. It's not constrained to anything. Ultimately, I want this to be kind of like a map in a video game. There's kind of areas that you can explore, and you can see basically where the places are that in your knowledge or in what you've thought about that are developed, and things that are underdeveloped, or maybe valleys between areas of ideas that you've thought about, and maybe you want to fill in that valley and you learn more about the things that combine those two topics. I also want to experiment with making this 3D. So maybe there's certain areas that I've thought about a lot more than other areas, and there's just more text volume. If I made this a 3D map, I could make that like a mountain, and then have an area that doesn't have a lot of text, be more like a valley or kind of an underdeveloped area. But yeah, that's the first experiments with creating these maps. So I actually did spend some time making 3D maps with the word count as like the mountains, but I'm just going to leave this here. I'll explore this a little bit further, and I'll make a new video once I make something more fleshed out. But yeah, keep your eyes out for that.